Why should you join the Livingston County Republican Party?
Why, you ask?
Yeah, why?
Why join?
The Republican Party is the party of common sense.
Common sense.
Republicans support the Constitution.
Republicans protect your rights.
We fight to keep your children safe.
We fight to keep boys and men out of girls' and women's sports.
We fight to keep boys out of girls' restrooms.
We fight for you.
What does the Republican Party do?
We help Republican candidates get elected.
Why is it important to elect Republicans?
Why is that important?
Why?
Tell me, why is that important?
Livingston County is one of the safest counties in Michigan.
Livingston County has one of the lowest crime rates in the state of Michigan.
Livingston County has the lowest tax millage rate of all 83 counties.
Republicans work to balance the budget.
Republican legislators vote against raising your taxes.
Republican elected officials believe in transparency.
Republican clerks run elections with integrity.
Republican trustees protect your rights.
Republicans support our veterans.
Who can join?
If you are conservative, we want you in our party.
All conservatives are welcome at our table. Join our activities.
Join the fun.
Become a member.
Join us now.
Hi, I'm Deb Drick, Chair of Livingston County Republican Party. Our conservative message has been very well received in Livingston County, and I'm so happy to share with you that people are stepping up right and left to help. The only thing's missing is you. Come join our mission. Come join our fun. Go to livingstonrepublicans.com and click join. You'll be glad you did.
I chose to become a prosecutor because I believe in holding offenders accountable, protecting victims' rights, and maintaining public safety. I also understand that justice is due equally to both defendants and victims. As your circuit court judge, I'll bring that same firm but fair focus to the bench, because I believe defendants deserve a fair trial, victims deserve to have their rights protected.
I'm an attorney who goes to work every day to fight for our community and defend our Constitution. My name is Christina Like, and now I want to be your next circuit court judge. And that means ensuring our constitutional rights are protected, protecting the innocent lives of our children, making decisions based upon rule of law and not politics, making court more affordable, and always placing the people first.
Someone once said, where your treasure goes, there also will be your heart. What kind of world do you want to invest in? Do your investments fund industries that tempt people to harm relationships? What if you could be more intentional with your money? What if your investments built content that enriched others' minds? Jason Huntley, CFP, has been guiding families for 30 plus years to plan, invest, and build.
Welcome to the middle of July. What happened? Middle of July, Right Side Podcast. I'm Deb Drick. I'm the chair of Livingston County, the red county of Livingston Republican Party. And tonight it's all Howell Township all night. So we're going to talk. We have two trustee candidates that are running for a vacated seat. And I have to tell you before I get into it, it's the most amicable race I've ever seen in my life. I have two people that get along, that are kind to each other, that say nice things about each other, and I wish all my races were like this. So with that said, I want to welcome candidate one, which is John Meyerhofer. So welcome, John. Thanks for being here on the right side.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're here with us. So let's start right in. Let's tell everybody about you. Start off with kind of your personal bio, like, where did you grow up? Where'd you go to school? That kind of stuff.
So I was born on Byron Road. And I live on Byron Road.
All right.
In between there.
No migration there.
No. Well, a little.
A little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
So I grew up in Pinckney. Went to Pinckney schools. When I was 15, my parents moved me to Colorado. So I spent 3 years out there, graduated high school in Pagosa Springs. It was a small town, great small town, good values. And then when I graduated high school, I moved back here and gained employment at the company that I still currently work for. That was in 1996. I resided in Oak Grove. I spent a year in Farmington Hills when I was engaged. Then I spent 8 years in Gregory, so Unadilla Township, another great area.
Yes.
And then I've been in Howell City, and then since 2017, Howell Township.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
And so you talk a little. You said you still work for the same company. What do you do, and how long have you been doing? Oh, you obviously you've been doing it forever. So what do you do?
So I professionally remove heat, which is otherwise known as refrigeration. It's a great trade.
Okay.
It's given a lot. It takes a lot, but it.
Okay.
Very, very fortunate for finding that field.
Well, you must love it to stay there that long. That is rare anymore. It used to be 100 years ago that, you really valued somebody that stayed for a long, long time. And now everybody hops around after 2 years. It's like, okay, I'm done off with you now. Goodbye. Here I go. So good for you. All right. Check some of those questions here. First of all, of course, we've got our greetings from Wayne County. Hi, Mark Ashley Price. Good to see you. To the good and concerned citizens, please consider being a candidate for local school board. Hold on to that thought, because we will be talking about that later. Okay, skip that one. That's school board. All right, well, we are going to be talking, Mark, hang around, because about 8:15-ish, 30-ish, we're going to be talking about school board. So, okay, so let me check off that I've asked you these questions. So, let me ask you this. Why are you running then?
Well, for me, it never really had a desire to run or get involved in politics. My job keeps me busy enough. But
sure.
The hot button Howell Township issue last fall, the data center, led me to gain interest. Obviously, it started with a single issue, the data center. Since then, I've been attending the board meetings, and I just really think I'd be an asset to Howell Township across the board.
Okay,
So,
well, and it's boy, what you teed that segue off well,
100%.
because the next question is, what strengths do you bring to the table? What personal, professional strengths, or professional strengths will you bring to Howell Township?
Well, at work, I help lead a great team of very, very dedicated and qualified people. I have honesty, integrity. I'll tell you the truth, even if I know that's not what you want to hear. And I think that politics and politicians should uphold those standards. So
good.
You answer to the people, and I would do just that. So I think I'd be an asset to the board.
Perfect. All right. So let me ask you this then. What do you think you'll have to learn when you get there?
A lot. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. What kind of, is there anything in particular? Feel free to name the list.
Yeah, the board functions. So I've been observing, and it's like, the motions to the supports. I've got that down. I took a citizen planner class through MSU Yep, it was like a 6-week course through MSU that highlighted, zoning and ordinance, and they briefly touched on ZBA, but that's a separate course. Not really a function of the actual Howell Township Board itself. But there's a lot of complex issues out there. I think the skill set that I've developed over the years professionally would help me navigate that.
Okay, terrific. So let me ask you this, kind of babble for a minute, brainstorm a little bit. What are some of the things that you'd like to accomplish as a trustee? And you're not limited. So tell me, things that you'd like to see yourself accomplish, or you'd like to initiate, or you'd like to be part of.
So my personal goal is to be transparent, engage with the community.
Okay.
So obviously, the data center, I'm opposed to that. It seems like there's a stay on that. So it's not what it was, say, 6 months ago now.
Sure.
But what I felt as a Howell Township resident was that the availability to reach out, connect, talk about my concerns, I just didn't feel it was there. So, I've learned a little bit more. I mean, I can understand to a degree why, but, when I watch the residents show up at the meeting, myself included, that is the number one thing, is I just want to engage and bridge the gap.
Good. That's terrific. So why don't you name, if you would, the 3 best things that you believe that are the best things about Howell Township?
Well, the rural the rural aspect of it. You know, if you drive down Byron Road, it's I think the most beautiful road in the country. I feel like Howell Township has a good mix of people that have lived in the county or the township for many, many years, but also it's got a mix of good fresh blood, you know, from the city that quite frankly moved from the city to enjoy what we experience here in Howell Township. The feel of community there. I mean, it's you know, I know people, so I guess that helps. But to me, it's a tight knit community.
Good. Well, it's interesting that you said about the people that move from the city. Yours truly also did that, and I grew up in Howell Township. I moved from Westland as a like a 14-year-old. I just turned 14, and I moved to Howell Township, and I finished my schooling there in Howell Township and Howell High School and everything else. So, and I will tell you, I still to this day, my husband and I are looking for a house, and we have choice. If he wants to stay a commissioner, we either live in Marion Township or Howell City, and I'm looking for some property, and I got to tell you, I am looking so hard to recreate the beauty that we had on Crandall Road. You know, I grew up probably halfway between Robb and Jonathan, you know, on that same road. So it's interesting, but you're right. It is a beautiful, beautiful township.
Yeah, and I would want to help preserve that beauty.
Yeah, I can see that. Tyler, just make sure we're paying attention to that. Okay, we don't have to bring it up yet, but there we go. Okay, Bob Wilson says hi to you, John. All right,
Bob.
Good. Okay. So let's see what else. So what are 3 things then, having, you know, talked about what you really liked about Howell Township, what are 3 things that you'd like to see kind of improved, you know? Or like, you know, what would you like to see either altered or improved or better, do a better job at? I'm not asking for negatives. I'm just saying, what would you like to see polished? We'll say polished.
Well, yeah, admittedly, I guess it's that's a tough question. That's the tougher part to answer because I feel fortunate to be there.
Sure.
I mean, I hate to be redundant, but I guess you know, to given the data center topic, the engagement from the board, and I really do, to clarify, I think the board has a lot of great people on it. So,
sure.
I think it's a well run overall. I don't know. I mean, I really I'd have to learn more to delve into what I see negative. I don't know.
And like I said, I'm really not asking for negatives. Just maybe something that they're doing well, but maybe they could do a little better. You're talking about communication with the residents, or maybe more transparency. I'm just throwing things out based on what you said, but I'm not looking for you to make a negative statement about it. Just like, you know, what would you like to see maybe change or improve, and maybe, you know, do you have any ideas on plans on how to do that?
So not really. I mean,
okay.
I plan. I mean.
Okay.
I've been sitting through the meetings and trying to, you know, process each topic, you know, that comes before the board and you know, the weigh in without reviewing, admittedly, that I'm not currently going through the board packet and getting the information.
Sure.
But just, that's why I say I've learned that there's a lot of complex issues. So, you know, it's 100%. It's not for every tricky decision made that you are going to impact potentially a group of residents negatively.
Agreed.
So there's really, outside of the, you know, outside of trying to preserve the community and admittedly prevent a large major scale data center from existing in a place that I personally don't think it belongs.
Okay.
I don't really have any agenda outside of just being transparent and reaching out to the citizens.
Okay, well, that's a great place to start. So talk about your campaign a little bit. Do you have like a web page?
Yes, I have a Facebook page.
Tyler, what is it called? Like John Marhofer for school.
For Howell
Township trustee. Okay. Yep. So it'd be JOHN, and it's MARHOFER, correct? Okay, MARHOFER for Howell Township trustee. Okay. So yes, we'll put that up there for everybody to see, and so people can
just look at that.
Yeah, that's it. That's good. Yeah, that's the Facebook page, and then when that comes up, the right side, right there is perfect. The right side. Yep. So we'll put that up there so everybody can see it. So that's where you find more more information on John. And so talk about your campaign. Are you learning anything out there in the campaign trail?
Yes. So those who campaign work extremely hard because it's daunting.
Yes, it is.
I've done some door knocking.
Okay.
It was actually just a quick funny. I saw a resident with a no data center sign in his yard, so I thought, okay, well, this is a
okay.
Yeah,
right.
Makes sense.
There's a softball.
Yeah, so I went up and I talked to the man for an hour, and we talked, and like I'm not a solicitor, so I struggled with that. So I talked to him an hour, had a great conversation. I just couldn't bring myself to ask him to put my sign in the yard.
Oh no!
I just felt like I would render that time spent. It seemed disingenuous, So I had a great conversation. Hopefully, I'll pick up his vote.
Okay, well, you know what? Yeah, signs don't. I mean, signs help, but it's the votes that you need. So Carolyn Henry's popped in here. And she has a question. She poses, there are some longtime board members currently serving as board member. Okay. If elected, what qualities do you have that will help you work together with the other board members? Oh, fun. There you go. I'm gonna get popcorn for this one.
No,
You got some interesting dynamics. Yeah, there we are. Sorry, sometimes that happens, so I don't know what happened, but all right. Yeah, we forgot the yes. Now we know what you said. Now that you've added the yes, we get it, Carolyn. Thank you for that. So, all right. So I think what she's saying is there's some interesting dynamics on that board, which would be about as true as it gets. What qualities do you have? She's asking that'll help you work together with the other board members. That's a very good question, Carolyn. Thank you for that.
I listen. I have my convictions, but I understand that other people have theirs, and I listen, and I'm fair, I'm honest, and I typically blend well with most people.
Okay, good. Okay, yes. By the way, if anybody's interested we are doing call-ins, so if anybody wants to call in and ask John some questions or talk to him, that's fine. But we're asking John his opinion. We're not calling in here to tell him what you think he ought to. Well, you can tell him, but anyway, that's to you, Bob. Don't come in here and don't call him and tell him how he's going to run. So
I'm thick-skinned, Bob.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. We love Bob. So there, Tyler's putting there's the number right there. So if you want to call in and talk to John, you can do that. We will get you right away. So so on your campaign, so you got a website and you're starting some knocking, but you're feeling a little awkward. That always, I'll tell you, that's always the hardest part about campaigning is getting knocking.
I found actually the conversations to be the easy part.
Sure.
It's the asking them like, hey, can you put my sign on?
You know what's even worse?
Yeah. What?
You want to make a donation to my campaign? That's even harder. So, but it's all part of the deal, I guess. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm asking for other people to bring in the questions as well. So I'm going to ask you a question, and that is a year from now. Okay, let's just say you get elected and it's a year from now. And what you're going to do is you're going to ask, let's just say, you ask the community, evaluate me. How did I do as a trustee? And 100% comes back and says, you were the best decision we ever made. You are a great trustee. We are so happy with you as a trustee. So I'm going to ask you, what does that look like to you? How did you get there? What do you think you did to get that kind of a rating? And it's not just one thing. You can throw as many out there as you want.
Well, I think it's really one thing. It's what I've done my entire professional career is when I don't know something, and like I started this podcast by admitting I don't know. When you don't know, you take the time to educate yourself and you learn.
Okay.
And you take the time to have constructive dialogue with residents and fellow board members, and you work diligently to be better and make change, and or keep it the same. I mean, whatever that is, you work diligently to accomplish whatever you're set out to accomplish, and I've done that for the last 30 years professionally. So
okay, all right,
easy. Yeah.
Okay, well that sounds great. So, Bob says just wait till you run into a diehard liberal that has a temper.
Yeah, they're out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Welcome to my world. So, okay. So, what else you want to tell us? I mean, right now you've got. I'm looking at those numbers. Those numbers are growing as we speak. So, you are talking to Howell Township, and you're going to be talking. This is going to be replayed by people in your township, the voters. They're making decisions. What do you want them to know about you, besides the I'm honest, I'm in integrity, and I work hard? Let's throw some nitty gritty in there.
I value what Howell Township currently is,
Okay.
And look forward to ensuring responsible growth.
Okay. That's a good question. Tell me, describe, and I gotta write that down so I ask. Responsible growth, good. So, what does responsible growth look like to you?
Well, obviously, it's a desired place to be, so that you anticipate that people are going to continue to want to come there. So I think that we need, and Howell Township overall has done a very good job striking the balance between welcoming people and growth within our community, but yet preserving what our community is.
Okay. So then so that's the past. That's up until now.
Okay.
So what are your thoughts about responsible growth? Yes, those are your words. Responsible growth moving forward. What does that look like to you in the next 5 years? I mean, mix that up with business or no business. What kind of business? Where are the limits? What about neighborhoods? I'm seeing from my Mile High. I'm not in the weeds like the townships are, but up in the Mile High view, my view is I'm looking at all the townships exploding with development and everything else, and I get both of them because people want to move out here, and they we have in many places an employee shortage, so you get a bunch of houses clustered together, and that's where you get a lot of times your employee base. But at the same time, and you also improve the tax base, which gives more services to the township. At the same time, you're losing your rural character. So do you permit no growth? Do you permit slow growth? What about business? Where does that draw the line, and where should it start and stop? I know that's a lot of questions, but we can ponder this. We don't have a gun to your head here. Just kind of ponder it.
So one of my biggest takeaways from the citizen planning class that I took was that Lansing is making changes, and there's some changes that are coming down the pipe that frown on the way that townships like Howell Township have historically operated. They want to reduce the acreage minimums, and really it's angling towards multifamily now.
Yes.
And multifamily is needed. I mean, there's you need housing and available housing for all income levels. But there's just going to be a lot of decisions that come. Well, where is that? Is it personally, I mean, where it's happened so far is you go, okay, well, you know, it kind of makes sense. It's more in the, you know, Howell Township has it through the Grand River corridor, the 59 corridor. There's, you know, it makes sense to have more of an urban feel. Well, I don't know that the same is said out at Byron and Allen or
Right.
dirt roads. I mean, another, you know, there was an issue, not an issue, but there was a topic in front of the board, I think a meeting or two ago that, you know, there was a proposed development and the dirt
Something
road.
on Thule or something? Was
Yeah,
that,
yeah, and the dirt
Thule
road.
and Warner in there?
Right, and again, it's complex. You know, it's I see it's single family, and it's not out of the realm of what is in the area or what's already been approved in the area.
Right.
However, the residents on the road on Thule Road that you know, have to go to the dentist after their fillings are chattered out. I mean, where is the line of, well, the dirt road can't support the traffic? Now that one, I agreed with a couple of board members that raised that concern. So, you know, those are a couple that come to mind.
What about business? So you were talking about the Grand River corridor and the 59 corridor. You were talking about that being business. Would you support, do you think, more business being like put on those areas for people that wanted to develop that for more business? You know, I mean, you and I both lived here a while. You know, I've lived here for 51 years. So, I mean, you know, M59 didn't have any of that stuff that's there now when I lived here, when I moved here. So now, you know, you got little strip malls, you got banks, you got, I mean, it didn't even have that cemetery when I was there, when I moved here. So I mean, is there how much more, is that okay? Or is that where you say, all right, that's business, go at it, and leave the back roads alone? Or where does that start and stop?
Yeah, it's more along those lines. I mean,
Okay.
M59 is growing, and
Sure.
it seems to make sense. I mean, the point of zoning is responsible growth. It's,
Right.
You know, it's to, and again, I'm a novice at it, but
That's okay.
yeah, it's.
This is just your opinion,
If
yeah.
you know, there's things to where, you know, businesses and development make sense. M59 is, I mean, most people are driving 70 down the road. It's, you know, you don't have little kids playing out there, and so it's already a high traffic area. So yeah,
Okay.
of course, Grand River.
Sure. Okay. So Carolyn asked, I think you answered that. Is the state of Michigan trying to change zoning laws? I think you were saying this as she was typing it. So, and if so, what are your thoughts about that? Do you think you answered that, or was there something else about trying to change zoning laws?
I do think that I've answered it from what I understand of it so far. And there's two parts of it. The first part I'm more, you know, that's what we discussed in the class.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What's the other part?
It's going to. I really don't know all the ins and
That's
outs
okay.
of that. Yeah.
All right. Give us the mile high view.
Yeah, it's even. I mean, there's talk of like 10,000 square feet lots, and with ADUs that you know, you can put different. It uncaps ADU requirements, which ADUs I definitely see both sides of that fence.
Okay.
I mean, you know, if it's.
What are the both sides for that?
Well, if a family member is living in your basement, if you have a finished walkout basement, should that classify as an ADU? No. So.
Okay.
In my opinion.
So I know you guys outlawed having like a mother-in-law house on the property or one of those tiny houses, or not you guys because you weren't there, but the township. What are your thoughts about that? Are you in favor of that, or are you in favor of, you know, more property rights? I mean, there's like, the argument I see on that is that yes, people don't want like a bit of Airbnb on their back property, but at the same time, you bought that property, you got 5 acres, and you want to put a little house back there, and you want your mother-in-law to live there, or your sister, or your kid, or whatever. That's your property. So that's kind of going on back and forth. What are your thoughts? On one side, or the other side, or both sides?
Want me to run that one question, or?
No, not yet. Yeah, we will. I'm letting him go ahead and answer
Okay,
that.
sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, well, certainly if you know, if you're building an actual separate structure, I mean, what if, depends on the acreage. I mean, if it meets, you know, what building codes and standards are, and you're parking your mother there.
Yeah.
I personally don't see the problem with that. And, I mean, it's hard to tell. Like you know, you hear things like, oh, you know, if you have a finished basement or a finished garage, you can't. I mean, if that actually qualifies not to move your loved ones in, you know, whether it's you know, taking care of them end of life or whatever, it's really
Well, let's just say I live alone. I'm a widow. And no, I'm not trying to kill my husband, but if I'm a widow and I have a big 2-story house and I want to rent, you know, help me with expenses, help me with chores, I want to rent out to my neighbor. Is that, Bob, is that currently allowed, or is that allowed, do you know, or should it be allowed? I mean, I get you shouldn't be able to do weekend Airbnbs, you know, in your pond in the backyard. Okay, that's one thing, but to be able to say you can't rent out any of your property or whatever, I don't know. I can see both sides of that too. Like I said, I don't feel like I would want to live over here next door to you, where you've got every kind of whack job over there every weekend, having your bonfire and, you know, swimming in your pond, but over a weekend and being loud and, you know, that other stuff. But at the same time, I don't know that I should have a right to tell you or whether or not you should be able to move in your mother or your friend downstairs to be a renter, because it'll help you, you know, pay your bills. Bob says it's not allowed in Howell Township. So interesting. Do you have thoughts on that, or you want to look into it some more before you really speak up?
Well, no, I mean, if we're talking about certainly an attached part of your structure, that which is what I've heard, absolutely. I mean, it's nobody's business. Yeah. So I mean, if you're going to build a shack that you know doesn't meet building standards, that's a different story.
But if it did meet, so if you got one like a small home back there and you wanted your, I keep teasing my son. I don't care where you move, you just better make sure that you got a room for my tiny house back there. You know, I want a bird feeder and an internet, and I'll be happy, and a little pot with my flowers. That's good. Yep. So that's kind of it. I just found it interesting that, like I said, I don't think that you should rent back there. You should put put a house back there for your cherry pickers every summer. But at the same time, if you know, like I said, if I'm a widow somewhere and I got here we go, Bob. You can't even rent out. You can't even rent out your basement in Howell Township unless it's family. Yeah, that to me is that's interesting. So, all right. Well, we talked about that. So, go back up here. I think Jake Curry had something he wanted answered. Oops. I've got to get a new mouse for this. We're struggling with a stupid little pad. All right, put Jake's up there if you would. In your own words, whoops. Tyler's struggling tonight. In your own words, what do you believe the main role or roles of the township board is or are to the people that live or own? What do you got, a love affair with the slashes there? Do you know how hard that is to read? What do you believe are the main role or roles of the township board are to the people that live, own property in the township? And how do you balance those roles with personal property rights?
So as a trustee, one of 7, your obligation and the expectation would be to make the best decision as the current zoning and ordinances are structured in a fair way to the property owners. And
that's a good, you just put a great word out there, fair. What does fair look like to you?
Well,
it's not a gotcha question. That's just think about it for a second.
It's a good question. I'd probably, what is fair? So,
you know, my favorite word in the word is reasonable. That's my favorite word in the English language, reasonable, because nobody misunderstands that word. So what would be reasonable or fair in your mind?
I mean, I guess it would it depend. I'm trying to play through some of the things that have been through the board. I mean, like I said, the Thule Road development, that really kind of struck me. I listened to those residents speak that were concerned about that, and I think that there was a couple of board members that had done the research and articulated the exact problems that are going to come. I mean, it's part of it. So if you take that situation where I would have voted, I felt like it was a fair concern. Now,
sure.
if you,
but is it fair enough to stop it, or is it fair that you say, this is what I'd like to see resolve?
Well, this is where, like, if you, based on the MSU class that I took,
okay,
what you find out is there's a lot of these things that are before the board to where the decisions are actually they're kind of limited as to what they can actually do. Their job is to uphold what the zoning and the ordinances are.
Okay.
So I mean, if any development meets the criteria that's set in place by the current zoning and master plan, you have to approve it.
Okay.
So.
So the word fair in this particular case doesn't even apply. It's just if it's allowed. So I guess the fair would come in, and I'm probing. I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to catch you. I'm probing because I mean it's not a matter of fair or unfair if you're sticking to ordinance, but there are things that are not necessarily spelled out in the ordinance, and that's where fair or unfair or reasonable or unreasonable comes into play. And I guess I like I said, I just wondered, what does fair mean to you? Like how do you determine something's fair, or how do you determine if it's reasonable? If that makes it simpler.
Well, so if you take that instance,
okay,
there was a gray area. There was a gray area in one of the 5 criteria. I personally would have leaned on that to say no.
Okay, what was the
roads?
The roads, okay.
And how it impacts other people.
Okay. Would that have been a no, or would it have been a go back and come back and fix the problem?
Well, I don't think they're really in a position to say and spell out, like, what do you do? Do you come back with lobbying the road commission, or
you do. I mean, you make plans and that kind of thing. So I'm curious now. So now I'm just.
Yeah, no, and I don't have a good answer. I don't have a good answer to that.
Okay.
Because that's where I would lack experience.
That is not necessarily a bad answer. So that to me is a good answer. That you don't have all the information and you don't want to answer until you get it. So that is not a bad answer, and it's not having one. That's a very good answer. So we have Mark Ashley Price that is chipped in here. Madam Chair, as always, you have amazing guests. Livingston County is very fortunate to have great individuals involved to make Livingston County great. Yes, we do, Mark Ashley Price, and that is the truth. Here comes Sharon Lolio. See, I said it right. Aha. We bought our house in a single-family zone neighborhood. I do not want a rental unit in your backyard. I don't blame you. I think that, I mean, you don't want Airbnbs back there. I was just curious, like I said, family or whatever. What do you do? But I get that, and I also think some kind of consideration needs to be thought about, or at least maybe I don't think this. Maybe I'm pondering, or I'm just opining that maybe if you had 30 acres and if you had a mother-in-law house back there, maybe it wouldn't be. I mean, it's not. I mean, maybe if the issues of proximity to the neighbor, right?
But at this point in time, is there any qualifiers?
Such as
30
here
acres.
We go.
Such as, I mean, so I don't do it enough, according to my wife.
Sure.
But we do go on vacation sometimes, and it's interesting to see the areas that did not respond well to the VRBO market. And quite frankly, I would not want, Sharon, to your point, I would not want in my backyard either. But what about an ordinance that says renters of 30 days or more? I mean, that's a different. That's
a different dynamic.
That's different than having the party on the weekend and not respecting those that reside there 365.
Jay and I have condos in Florida, and we have 2 of them in the same complex, and there is an absolute forbidden, they don't allow weekend rentals there, and for that reason, because you get a different rental. I mean, I rent it out for the winter, and I'll rent it for 3 months, and I'll get a retired couple that comes there with their little poodle, and that's fine. But the ones that kind of slip in the weekenders without anybody trying to notice, we can spot them in a mile away because they're partying and they're, you can smell the pot coming off the balconies and everything else. So yes, you're exactly right. Having a longer term, you get a different clientele. But as I said, I'm not necessarily thinking that a rental is, like I said, if you want to rent out some part of your house or whatever, your basement or your spare room or something to a roommate to kind of help make ends meet, then that's one thing. But yeah, to put a house back there just to rent, like for an income, that I could see that being a problem. But like I said, for your mother, my son's gonna do it. He better do not move to Howell Township, Corey, if you can't host me back there. Problem is, put that up there so I can see it, please. When your elderly parents pass away, what becomes? Aha! That's a good idea. That's a good idea. That's a very good question. Very good question.
Well, fortunately,
Either
me
that or
personally, I have 5 children, so there's a good chance. Right there.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, here's the other thing. If I'm in one of those, the way I look at it, if I'm in one of those things, and then, you know, eventually I pass away, then my kids will move into it, and then their kids will take their house. So, okay. Anyway, I think that, but if you limit it to family or whatever, I think that no matter what you do with it, you bring your in-laws in. I don't know. But I get what you're saying, and it's I mean, we can, my role at this particular point is just to be the devil's advocate, you know,
and
go the other way and see what we can come up with.
That's the best part. Like I've seen, I've always kind of like, I'm behind the scenes. I watch things. I pay attention quasi until recently. I've seen a lot of great things from Sharon, but we may not agree on this one issue.
Sure.
It doesn't take away from the overall body of work that we're overall like-minded people.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sharon's perfect. If she says something and you disagree, off with your head. No, I'm joking.
No, but I mean, I think highly of her, and
yes, we all do.
We may not see eye to eye on that, but and she raises valid points. But
she does.
I would argue so do I.
Yeah, you do, and that's like I said. My role here is not to. My role here is just to probe and get out both sides and see where everybody, you know, because when the dust settles, you land. Lots of times you land someplace different than you started. You narrowly avoided getting kicked. You looked over at me.
I know. I'm trying.
Point that out. I know you did good.
You're doing a good job.
Okay. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to tell us? We can. We're going to go to commercial here in a few minutes, but I don't want to cut you down. Anybody else that wants to say anything to? Ask John a question or call in and talk. Call in and talk to him before we move on. Where are you going? Could you put that back to the comments? Thank you. I'm not ready for that. Tyler is like twitchy over here. No more Red Bull for you before you show up. Anyway, so if there's anything, anybody has anything to ask him, or before we get to our next guest, or John, you got anything else you want to say to everybody? What, like I said, you're getting a good audience tonight. We're going to have some good, thank you, by the way, for the really good numbers I'm going to have tomorrow.
Yeah, no problem. I understand some of the stumbles and bumbles are that of somebody who doesn't really fully know exactly what's in store. I took great solace in last night with a board member that's been there for many, many, many years that said he had no idea what was involved until he got there. And thankfully, to the woman who retired after 20 years of service to the township, thankfully she was there to help guide him along. So I understand that there's things that I don't know and answers that I don't have, but I'm a good listener and a quick learner.
Good. Well, that's good. We got a couple. Karen Bukowski, thank you for running and volunteering your time. Bill Reiber, here's a question. You think pot dispensaries are gone for now? Bob, you didn't hear that. Bob, just settle down. What do you think about pot dispensaries? Do you have an opinion? Or you just want to hear more?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to hear. There's a place for them, and there's also places that they shouldn't be. So
okay. Should they be in Howell Township? I gotta write that down because I gotta ask that too.
Commercially, I would say no.
Okay. Well, Sharon says nice to hear from you, John, and she appreciates you doing the podcast. So thanks, Sharon, for chiming in and asking good questions. I can only come up with so many questions, so thank you for everybody that popped in here with a question. That really helps us. Like I said, this has been the single most amicable race I have ever seen. I mean, the two of them sit together in the meeting, I'm told. So, and that's fine. To me, there are worse things in life than to have two really good candidates running for a seat, right? Because, an opening might come or whatever, and so we have a you have the heir and the spare. however this shakes out, we get an opening, we know that we're gonna be able to recommend somebody really good. So that's good news. So John, I want to thank you for popping in. You did a great for your first podcast. You did really good. You answered the questions well, and I think a lot of people got to know you that maybe wouldn't have known you before. So we appreciate you coming in here. And Carolyn Henry says Township is lucky to have great candidates. Yes, they are, and I don't know if you guys know how lucky you are because. Especially, like I said, as the chair of a party that really oversees a lot of elections and the battles and the squabbles and everything else, I really appreciate you guys, being my poster children for great candidates. So, they're all good candidates, but for amicable candidates, we'll say that they're all good candidates. So anyway, all right, well, we're gonna go to some commercial, and then we're gonna come back, and we're gonna invite Laura Wilkerson, who's the other amicable candidate, and we're gonna ask her the exact same questions. We're gonna go right down the middle here, and we're glad to have Howell Township. We also have some news about the Howell schools, and I cannot wait to get into that. So, and we're also gonna chat with the chair tonight is going to be all about the debate. What did you think of them? What should have happened? What's going to happen? So, so stick around, and we'll be right back as soon as.
I chose to become a prosecutor because I believe in holding offenders accountable, protecting victims' rights, and maintaining public safety. I also understand that justice is due equally to both defendants and victims. As your circuit court judge, I'll bring that same firm but fair focus to the bench, because I believe defendants deserve a fair trial, victims deserve to have their rights protected, and the public deserves a safe community to live in. I'm Christopher Candela, and I'm asking for your vote for 44th Circuit Court Judge.
I'm an attorney who goes to work every day to fight for our community and defend our Constitution. My name is Christina Like, and now I want to be your next circuit court judge. And that means ensuring our constitutional rights are protected, protecting the innocent lives of our children, making decisions based upon rule of law and not politics, making court more affordable, and always placing the people first.
We're back, and we have with us the part two of the Howell Township trustee race, and this is Laura Wilkerson, and Laura's also running for the township. So welcome, Laura. Thanks for coming. So I'm going to ask you the exact same questions we asked John, and people will be chiming in, and we'll get to their questions as well. So the first one is. Now you were on some time ago when you first filed, and that's fine. So quickly give me your personal bio.
Well, my name is Laura Wilkerson. I live on the north side of Howell Township, and I grew up. I was raised here, graduated Heartland, go Eagles, and so I'm a Heartland alum. I moved out in Howell Township in 2004, and I worked for my dad's construction company for quite some time. We built the house that I currently reside in now. Raised my son there, plan to retire there.
I want to say you were a single mom, were you not?
Yes.
You remember?
Yes.
You're going to get kicked out if you look at me again, so look there. All right.
I am a single mom. I raised my son. He's just graduated from Howell High School this year, is CMU bound pre-law.
All right.
So very proud of him for that. And we live in the house that I built. My father and I built in 2004.
Wow, awesome.
So
What about professional bio? You sort of started with your dad's. talked about your dad's construction company. Where have you gone?
Absolutely. So worked for him for about 25, 30 years. In 2010, he kind of retired, went south a little bit. I stayed here, raised Nathan. And he figured out he's a little too young to retire yet, so he came back. And I started an insurance agency, and he came back to work with me in the insurance agency. Had a 5-year plan to grow it from scratch, build it from the ground up, built it into a $3.6 million business from nothing, opening the door to having that business. So very thankful for that. And then I went on to, I currently work right now. I'm an officer of Brighton Analytical, and I do all the budgeting, projected growth for them, and all the accounting.
Okay, awesome. All right. So, so let's go right into the same questions I just asked John. Why are you running?
Why am I running? I have obviously lived here my whole life. I love this community, and I have a proven track record of fiscal responsibility, executive leadership, and it would benefit the voters. And I think my skills are a perfect match for Howell Township trustee.
Okay. Well, let's talk about a softball. What strengths do you bring to the table? Give me some specifics.
Some specific strengths.
Carolyn says that you're an amazing mom to a pretty wonderful young man. So there you go.
Yeah, she knows Nathan. Thank you.
We all know Nathan. So all right. So give me some of the strengths that you'll bring to the table.
Biggest strength is the fiscal responsibility. I budget all the time in my current position, which is directly correlates to one of the many things that a township trustee does.
Okay.
So that's a big one.
So you know how to read a budget well.
I know how to read a budget. The insurance agency taught me how to deal with compliance. I hold several different licenses actually with I got kicked.
Look over there.
I hold several licenses in the insurance industry. I'm familiar with, hold my 6 and 63, which is stocks and bonds, so also helps me in that.
You understand about bonds and bonding, okay?
Absolutely.
Right,
the construction, Howell Township is getting ready to, they're in the planning phases of a new community center.
Okay.
So the construction background that I have with working for my father for all those years would be a strength as well for the taxpayers.
Okay.
In my current position,
all right,
the environmental lab, they do a lot of the water testing.
Oh, there's been some questions about the Howell Township water.
Absolutely. I think a lot of the townships and the different cities, villages, MHOG, they're all dealing with the water and sewer rates, the wastewater treatment plants. I've got a lot of contacts there, which will help benefit the township as well. One thing they just went through is they're working on the water and sewer rates and the rate increases.
Okay.
And one of the things that I thought would have been a great asset, I was at the Howell City meeting prior to the township meeting, and as they were going through talking about which company to use, Howell City actually had just been through it. So I thought it really would have been beneficial to get up there and talk to Howell City, see who they hired, why they hired, how it worked. And I think working together, I can help bridge some of those gaps.
Okay, awesome. So let me ask you this then. What do you think you'll have to learn as a new board member? What are some things? Just give some examples.
We're always learning, right? Every day we learn. I think the biggest thing, I go to a lot of the meetings, reading the packets. There's already sitting board members there that have been there for a long time. So it's learning them, learning how they work, just kind of figuring out what works, how to have good dialect with everybody that's there on the board, even with differing opinions. How to listen to them and just how to work together. Whenever you lead a team, you have a lot of different personalities on that team.
Sure.
So you have to learn what works and what doesn't work.
Well, it's interesting because Carolyn asked a question later that I was going to do, so we can just kind of steer off to that to get that question, just so you have an answer to it too. But she basically said, I'm going to paraphrase, but it's basically there's a whole lot of different personalities, unique personalities on Harrell Township. What do you have? Like, what is your skill? We got it. What's your skill set, and how will you be able to help navigate your way through those different personalities, especially since some of them maybe have a little friction?
I've led teams and construction crews. I've led professional people through all different aspects of strategic planning and decision making, and
you led those. You're not going to be leading this. You're going to be one of. So you're going to be one of. How do you navigate that?
Yes. How do you navigate that?
Yes.
I think part of being a good leader is knowing your team.
Okay.
In my younger years, construction, you have a lot of different personalities in construction, okay?
Yep.
We've all been there. You have different teams, different crews, so, and you have to be a part of that. And that's something I learned through my dad's company, that how to deal with different personalities, whether you're dealing with professional personalities, abrasive personalities, and how to actually bring everyone together to go towards that common goal.
Okay. Well, let's catch up on that before we got Mark Ashley Price. Livingston County has some amazing Republican candidates. I say that to you all the time, Mark. Yes. You need to move here. Rob Rodriguez Pelzari, I like the fact she has strong ties to Livingston County. That'll help her in the new role. Agreed. And Victoria Diod says, very well-rounded and accomplished. Terrific. Okay, so examples of things you would like to, do you have any examples of things you'd like to accomplish as a trustee? You don't have to be specific. You can just kind of generalize.
Just kind of generalize.
Yeah.
I think with my background, it would benefit both the taxpayers to go in there, and I'm not looking to take over any accounting or anything like that, but I think one of the things that trustees are charged with is looking over the budget, being able to pick out, being very transparent with that budget first, and being able to pick out, hey, are we doing this the best way that we can? Are we being the best stewards with the people's money? Mm-hmm. And being conservative with what's happening there.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Go ahead.
I would also, probably the biggest and most important thing to me is I'd like to see, I've done a lot of processes. I think Howell Township would benefit from my experience in some of the processes. I think we could all work together. One of the things that happened when they were appointing people, there wasn't necessarily a process that they followed, and it seemed like they were very unsure of how to handle things, what the criteria is, and I think I could help them.
I think they had a process, but the process revolved around the supervisor, and it was the supervisor was not there. Was the supervisor there?
No.
Okay, the supervisor wasn't there. He had left, so there was no one. Normally if he had been there, there'd have been a process, but suddenly there's no process anymore. So something like that, having processes and backup processes, if this, then what, is what you're talking about, I'm assuming. Okay.
Absolutely. I think that would be beneficial. I think streamlining some of the things that are happening. One of the issues that being out in the community, obviously, I always wear my name tag. I've got a shirt. I'm out trying to talk to people. And then also at these township meetings, for example, there was one last night. One of the gentlemen that spoke felt that the community members weren't being heard.
Okay.
And that is so important to all of us. This is our community. Mm-hmm. It's not just a bunch of people that sit on a board and make a decision. We are representing the people. So it benefits all of us to have a community where we all love, and we have to listen to them. So one of the big things they're working on right now is possibly going into creating an email and I would like to see that process kind of pushed along so we can get that communication open immediately and hit that ground running.
Okay. What does good communication mean to you? I'm probing you the same way I did John. What does that mean to you?
It means that we listen. As
Okay.
an elected official, it means that you're a good steward with your taxpayers' money. It would benefit anything that benefits the people and the taxpayers. So we have to listen to them.
Okay.
We have to hear what are their struggles, where do they want to see us go. They have to be heard.
Okay.
We may not always agree, and
Sure.
we may not always
Sure.
go in as a board. We may not go in the direction, but we have to have the whys, and we have to listen.
Okay. That sounds reasonable. All right. Give me the 3 best things in your opinion about Howell Township.
The 3 best things.
Mm-hmm.
I think the people. I think the people are the biggest asset to that township.
Howell Township does have some great people.
They have some great people. They come together as a community. They one of the things I love is all the different farm stands and all the different. You've got your farmers that come and fill for people that have food insecurities. We see those farmers come in and fill those pantries, and as well as the people of the community.
Right.
Fill those pantries. I had an instance not too long ago where we had some kids that needed a bus to get to a competition. I put the call out there and said, hey, this is what's going on. These kids have studied. And within 20 minutes, I had more money to get that bus for those kids. And we were able to do that. And as a community, that's something.
That's wonderful.
As needs come arise, the community rallies.
All right.
So I think I would say the people are the best.
Okay.
I love the balance in between the growth and the rural character. You have you have the best of both worlds. If you want to have more neighbors and you like that comfort and that smaller community, you have that available to you, or you can buy 10 acres or 20 acres or 100 acres and you can live in the country. So I would say they do that well. The third best thing would just be that it's a happy place. It's a great place to raise your family. We shop local. We're able to live there, work there, shop there, and retire there. And to say that about a community
to be able to get all
growing,
of that,
yes.
All right, we had Jake Curry in there. Great answer. Sounds like you'd be great for the township. Thanks, Jake. Rob, she's a doer. I like that. All right. Yes, she is. Okay. So, what are 3 things you'd like to see improve? Now, this is not 3 negative things. It's just 3 things you'd like to see improve, alter, polish, strengthen. Use whatever word fits comfortable.
I would like to help with the processes.
Okay.
We spoke on that a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
I'd like to maybe streamline that a little bit. Meaning sometimes things are talked about for a very long time that could probably...
If there was a policy or process, it would just... Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
If this, then that, check. Right.
Absolutely. I would like to also see at the township meetings where we get a bigger call to the public. We get more people in there that I think if people feel heard, they'll come.
Mm-hmm.
And more people, more ideas, greater ideas come out of that. So I'd like them to.
We'll talk again in a year if you get elected.
I'd like people to feel like.
No, I know what you're saying.
They'll be heard.
Right.
So they'll come and tell us.
Sure.
So.
And the interesting thing, what I've learned about government, you're making everybody happy when nobody shows up. When people are filling your things, it's because they're angry. So be careful
I'm
what
sure
you
that
wish
happens too, but
for.
there's got to be common
Yeah,
ground.
and you guys I think have a community center coming or being talked about at this point. Town halls where you get people's ideas. That's a great thing. But I like your idea about the strategic planning. I'm a big believer in strategic planning. So
I think it's important, and if we're gonna put the money in the town hall, and this is something that they just said the other night, they're gonna put it out for bid for architects.
Okay.
I think with my background, I think having the contacts that I have, I'd like to see us explore local contractors.
Right.
I'd like to make sure that we build something that is within our budget.
Right.
Absolutely. Because I know there's a lot of wants and wishes. Howell Township wasn't too far from receivership, not too long ago.
Right.
So I'd like to stay within that budget, use local, and make sure that community center is something that the people will use. And the only way we're going to find out is to talk to the people. We have to utilize something for voting. We have to have.
Sure.
I want to make sure it's utilized by the people.
Okay.
Because it's ultimately for the people.
Sure, it is. All right. So talk about your campaign a little bit. Do you have a web page or a Facebook page?
I do have a Facebook page.
What's the name of it?
It's Laura Wilkerson for Howell Township Trustee. I ask everybody, please go out on Facebook, take a look at it. It's a public page.
W-A-L. Hang on. W-I-L, not L-L. I-L. K-1-L. K-E-R-S-O-N. For Howell Township Trustee?
Yes.
Okay. No, try again. I'm telling you, it's that Red Bull over there. He gave him wings.
Sometimes sometimes caffeine is good, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm asking everybody, please go out there. Okay. It's a Facebook page. Like it, share it. I'm trying to get my name out there, what I stand for, what I believe in, and I'm constantly updating. Give you an idea of who I am, what I'm looking for.
Okay, so tell me about what you're doing. What are your activities, your campaign activities at this point? Like, what are you doing with your to campaign?
To campaign, I have signs. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the signage is super important.
Sure.
That's one part of the pie, and the most important thing to me is talking to the people.
Okay.
So I am doing door knocking. I am getting out there. My dad, we used to always say, we live here, we work here, we shop here. Right. I'm talking to people at Meijer. I'm talking to people at Kroger. You see my little badge so people know who I am.
Okay.
When I walk up to them and I just strike up a conversation. I love talking to people.
Good.
I love the people of our community.
Yes. Well, and that's something everybody agrees on. So I'll ask you the same question I asked John, and that is this. A year from now, okay, you get elected, and we're a year from now. This is July 14th in 2027, and you ask the community to rate you, to evaluate you as a trustee, and they come back and say, "Oh my gosh, you are the best trustee ever. You get this 100%. We could not be happier with you as a trustee. You're doing fantastic. What does that look like, Laura? How did you get that? How did you earn that rating?"
Because I worked for it.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to the people.
Okay.
But the other part of talking is listening.
Uh-huh.
So I've listened to them. I've listened to their ideas. We've been able to move forward on the great ideas of that. We've balanced a budget. We've done ordinances, policies, and we've built a place that obviously everybody's moving here. That's part of, we have explosive growth in all of Livingston County. So we've done it responsibly. And we've done it with the values.
Okay.
That we hold dear right now.
So let me ask you this, and this is another one that I'm going to ask. What does responsible growth mean to you?
Responsible growth means we were wise in our decisions, meaning the infrastructure. When you have a area that is becoming very populated, there's many moving pieces to that. You have your roads, your electrical grids. We have to be wise in those decisions, and it ties into our money and what's available to us that way as well. And I think we also have to keep the values that we have now. That's one of the big things.
What are those values that you think we should keep?
The values are good family, good local, keeping everything local, hard work, transparency, balancing budgets. There's so many things that go into that.
Okay. So, talking about growth, where, we're hearing a mixture of the growth in a business, where businesses should be, where neighborhood should be, and then where the rural should be. There is, I'm seeing it, as I said earlier, I'm seeing it all over every township is running into the situation where these developers are coming in and wanting to put in these great big, developments. And you understand, there's a two sides to it. And one of them is you need people to live and work in your communities. You need employees. You need people to pay your taxes. So, but at the same time, you want to keep the rural character. This is what I'm hearing from everybody. So, where's that balance for you, as far as allowing development and allowing growth? But that's what I mean. Like, where's the balance there?
Well, we have rules, regulations, ordinances, policies that are made, and they need to be followed.
Did you and John plan that answer?
No.
He said.
Is that what he said?
Yes.
We have a lot of, we see a lot, eye to eye on a lot of things. Not everything, but on this.
Right.
Those policies are in place.
Okay.
Right? So we need to follow them. We may need to adjust them from time to time.
Okay.
Depending upon what the community says as a whole. But we also have to preserve everybody's property rights as well.
Okay. All right.
That's very important.
We had another discussion about the the little rental units, and we were talking earlier about right now as it stands, the way I'm told is that you're not allowed to rent your base. Like if I was a widow in Livingston County and I wanted to rent my basement or my other bedroom away out to somebody that would help me split my expenses or whatever, that is not allowed in Howell Township as it is. And we talked about having a little house in the back. And maybe putting your mother in there. Sharon Lolio very wisely said, but what happens when mom leaves or goes in a nursing home or passes on? What happens to that? Do you want to rent it? And we were talking about, not wanting Airbnb people for the weekend, but what are your thoughts on property? Because it's like a fine line. It's like,
yes, it is.
It's you don't want to infringe upon your neighbors by having a weekend renters back there, but at the same time it is your property. So where's that balance come in?
I think everybody has property rights until they infringe upon their neighbor.
Okay. So
and at that point, then we have to address it. And I would say, I would throw it back on the people. What do the people have to say about the township? Do they want that type of community where you have people? You go up north, they call us trunks. Right. They call us trunk slammers. They don't like us coming into their town, raising it in, and then leaving.
And nobody wants that here either, so we get it.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So that's why the ordinance exists.
All right.
Should that change? If people want to see a change there, let's talk about it. Let's explore it.
Yeah, I think there's reasonable grounding for that. So what else do we have here? You did the board dynamics. You did the ADUs. The word fair. Oh, as somebody wanted to know what your thoughts are of putting a pot dispensary in. Do you see that that's going to be okay or not? Not in all.
Right now, it's against the rules. If it's against the rules, then you'd have to go through the process of getting a variance or changing that rule.
Okay. All right. Well, this is addressing your township constituents here, and by the way, I thank you and John both for the great ratings because we've had. I can see some of the numbers. These are the internal numbers here, but I know the numbers. If they're that what they are, then they're by they're 100 or 200% better than the other ones. So what do you want your constituents the voters to know about you before you go?
I want them to know that with my experience and my background, that I bring a lot to the table. There's so many pieces and moving pieces and pieces of the pie that a trustee does. It's not just budgeting. It's not just ordinance. It's communication, and I'm a very well-rounded. I've got the fiscal responsibility. I'm going to be very conservative. A vote for me is I'm going to treat that money like it's my own money because, quite frankly, it is because I live in Howell Township. So it would benefit you, the voter to vote in somebody who's fiscally responsible,
Okay.
somebody who's level-headed, somebody that's going to listen to you. And I'm going to keep updating my page as well. I would appreciate going out to Laura Wilkerson for Howell trustee. I will keep you all apprised of what my goings and what I find out there, and some more information as far as what I believe.
Okay. Well, as I said earlier, this is the most amicable race in the county. So, I said it to John. I'll say it to you that if there's ever an opening, whichever one of you wins, and there's an opening that pops up, I dearly will be thrilled if whoever wins nominates the other one for that opening. I mean, we could not go wrong, I think, with either of you. So having both of you would even be better. So, not looking to push anybody out or hope anybody leaves, but if life goes on and people get people finish. So it would be I just wish there were 2 openings. I really do. So all right, well, we're gonna come back and we've got some chat with the chair, and we've also got some school board stuff to talk about, which I'm pretty excited about. So you stay right there, and Tyler hopefully is gonna hit the right button, and we're gonna go to a commercial. We'll be right back.
Thank you. Okie doke. All right. Well, boy, we had that. Like I said, outstanding candidates. Rob wanted to know about the most important issue. Where does she stand on the Second Amendment? I didn't ask that question, Rob, simply because I didn't ask it of John, and I'm trying to be balanced and fair. I'm trying to ask the same questions here. So, but I'm gonna make a leap and say both of them will be fine. Teresa has a question here. This off topic. Yes, it is. Shame on you. I'm joking. Which Republican is a good pick for governor? Anybody but Benson. We sort of went over that. That was the chat with the chair last week, but we can always do that again. We are going to talk about the debates as chat with the chair goes, but at this point, we'll get into that in a minute. But I just want to talk about some school board stuff. We have. Last week I told you a little bit. I was very glossed over, and so today I'm going to be a little bit more specific. Howell has had a conservative majority, and we were told we're conservative. Were Jason Bedford, check. Meg Marhofer, definite check. Steve Dalt, who got elected, we helped get elected in 2024. Stacy Passini, who claimed to be conservative, and who am I missing? Courtney Tarara. So we had 5 conservatives, okay, that claimed to be conservative. And, I just want to say this. If you look at the hoopla that has gone on and the hoopla that hasn't gone on, Heartland is very liberal, and there's where all the hoopla is. And I think Howell spends their time terrified we're going to turn into Heartland. So they've been on high alert because there's been some incidents that, Howell for the most part has kind of stayed under the radar, and they had a couple superintendent issues this year that got everybody kind of tilting their head wondering. But for the most part, we've not worried about them because they've been fairly conservative. They've flown under the radar. They don't have a bunch of craziness going on or a bunch of battles about, boys and girls bathrooms and sports, etc. So Howell has, done fine. But then Steve Dalt, who was
was our, who we helped get elected this last 24 term, had to leave for whatever reasons. He had, I don't know, family issues or health issues or whatever. But he left, and so that took a Republican out. So that was supposed to leave four conservatives and 2 liberals, right? Right, because it was 5 and 2. So now it's supposed to leave 4 and 2. So a boatload of people applied to be appointed for that. We had actually 3 conservatives that applied. That 2 in particular that were named. There were other conservatives. I'm not going to bring them up because they didn't get past the round 1. But the Stephanie Leach and Brandon Bearfield made it to round 2, and those were 2 confirmed conservatives. And also we had Brianne Green and Adam something or other who were seriously liberal, and they came up. Now you think with 4 conservatives and 2 liberals that would have been no problem. Courtney was out of the country or out of town or something. She did not go to this. She was not able to go to this meeting. So now we're supposed to have 3 and 2. So what happens is you come down to the 2 liberals and then Brandon, and the deciding vote was one of our so-called conservatives. It was Stacy Passini, who did not vote for, gave votes to actually both the other liberals, and Brienne got it. This is absolutely. I mean, my phone blew up, absolutely blew up over this. It was, I can't believe she did that. How could she claim she's a conservative and pass up on Brandon or Stephanie? And now we've got a liberal, because now she is considered a liberal. So now we've got a liberal board in Howell. We all know what that means. We all know what we're afraid that means. So we are, so anyway, we put out the word and we asked, come on people, step up. Do you want Howell to, lean left like that? Because right now, there it goes. And so we did. We've got 3. Courtney Terrara is running again, as is Stacy Persini. But we also have Stephanie Leach, who was one of the ones who applied. There's 2 6-year seats. Right now we've got Courtney and Stephanie, who we are supporting, and Stacy, who we want to vote out. So then over here, we also have that partial seat that Brianne got appointed to, and Brandon Bearfield filed for that today. So I am also excited to tell you that conservative board members Meg Marhofer and Jason Bedford, we all know them. We know they're conservative. They've endorsed all 3 of them. The vote that Stacy did and did not support the conservative values of the community, then fine. There's nobody that trusts her to make a hard decision. So we're running against her, and we're asking everyone in the Howell School District support. We need sign locations. We need help. We need you talking to each other. We need you talking to your neighbors. So that's Courtney Terrara and Stephanie Leach for the 2 6-year terms, and Brandon Bearfield for the partial term. So these are the 3 that we're going to be supporting. We're going to run them hard, and we're going to be working with them every step of the way. So conservatives, you want that Howell School Board to stay under the radar. None of these nonsense problems that Heartlands go to. None of the crazy money issues or gender issues or whatever else they have. Those are the 3: Courtney Terrara, Stephanie Leach, and for the partial term, Brandon Bearfield. So what I'm looking for is chair at livingstonrepublicans.com sign locations, because we are going to pepper this community with signs. And I'm so disappointed. I got a call about Stacy here just a couple weeks ago, and they were telling me that, oh, you really ought to take a look at her. She votes right, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, well, okay. I'll take a look at her. If she's, if she's conservative, she's conservative. And then she voted that way, and it was like game over right there. She could have put on a conservative candidate and chose not to. Chose not 1, but 2 votes for the Liberals. So, all right. Jake Curry's comment right there. You watched that vote and was flabbergasted. We all were. We were all watching that vote. That was, we've just had it with board members that, say they're conservative, but then when push comes to shove, pow, out comes the liberal stuff. So this was a bad move on her part. Had she voted for Brandon, then Howell schools, and this is my stance. The last thing I need to do is get involved in another race, but it's our community. This is what I've got elected to do. So it's our community. These are our kids. So now I'm going to also make that same plea for Heartland. If there's 3 seats open, there's 2. Hi Matt, how you doing? There's two 4-year seats and 1 2-year seat. We got somebody for the 2-year seat. We have 2 4-year seats open in Heartland. Now listen, right now there's Greg Keller and Greg Gogoleski who are conservative. Jeff Scott, thank you. Jeff Scott, who's running for the 2-year, that's 3. If we get 1 of those 2 4-year seats, Heartland has a majority. End of problem. I am begging and pleading. Anybody in Heartland, guys, I got a new slogan. It's called Stop complaining and start campaigning. We need people. These are your kids. These are your kids, and is it Aristotle or Plato? Plato, I think, that said, those who aren't going to be involved in, as to paraphrase, those who are not going to step up to be involved in politics are destined to be governed by their inferiors. And in this particular case, it's your children that are going to be governed by your inferiors. Do you want, Heartland, do you want your children to go through this over and over and over? All we need Jeff to win again, and we need 1. We get 2, and it's booyah. We get 2, and it's a super majority. So this is what we need, folks. We need, just like we got in Howell. Now, let me tell you, I don't live in Heartland, Mark. I can't. So Mark wants me to run for school board. Nope, been there, done that, and I don't live in Heartland anyway. I live in Howell where we got 3 good candidates. So we need Heartland. These are your kids. This is the time. The party will help you. This is the right time to do it. We've got a big red wave coming in the state of Michigan, and we need it. We need it very badly. Go ahead and post. For Tyler's all thumbs. I am spot on about Heartland. I've heard it enough from the Heartland people. And we really need, we will help you. We will help you with training. We will help you with door knockers. We'll help you with lit and signs, and we'll try to raise some money for you. So if you have a heart, or you have a child in Heartland schools and you want to help stop this, we had a student, a Howell High School or a Heartland High School student, post on our Republican page. Please, somebody help end this nightmare. That broke my heart. So I'm begging you, please get somebody in there. We need 2. We need 2 people to run. And we got Jeff running for the 2-year. We'll run you 3 together, and we'll make it work. So yeah, there's actually, Bob, we have 3 good candidates for Howell. So that's good. Or Howell Township. Yeah, I'm sorry. We're on schools. Do try to keep up. So we have. So I'm begging anybody in the Heartland area. If you're, I know it's like everybody's like, no, I don't have time for this. I'll tell you what, it's a whole lot easier to put the time in and get the majority and make things better than it is to try and clean up the mess because you didn't. So if you're in a Heartland school district, I'm begging you, please step up, get a hold of me, chair at LivingstonRepublicans.com. I'm begging you here. Get a hold of me, and we'll help you. We will help you. We will help you. We have a very good track record. When we get behind candidates, we have a great track record. So let's see if we got some new things. Come on. Yeah, don't make Deb go through the precinct delegate list. You betcha. I know, that's what I should do. Let's see. Well, all right. Yeah, all right. Well, we'll worry about that then. So, okay. So, so I need Heartland School Board, but I'm so excited about Howell, And I just could not be happier about those 3. So again, step up, get me Howell School District, get me sign locations, get me volunteers, get me anybody that will, donations. We'll figure out that donation stuff. I have to get to the legal stuff on that and make sure everything's legal and right. And then we're gonna go to town. We need these 3 at the top of the ticket. There's no doubt. So, all right. So the next part was, what did you think about the debates? Who won? Did anybody win? What did you like about the debates? What didn't you like about the debates? Tyler's putting up the number for you to call, and you can talk about it or you can type it in. Who did you think won? Livingston County. I got a call from the Perry Johnson camp. Said that he's looking to come out here in the next week or 10 days, and which he hasn't been out here yet. So I told the lady I spoke to. We've invited him several times, so hopefully he can give people a chance to meet him because we really don't know him. Rob says Mike Cox was spunky and he liked it. So Mike's been out here many times, so we've had a really good chance to get to know him. So that's been wonderful. Anyway, so what did you think about? So Mike Cox was spunky on that thing. He did. He was kind of fired up. At one point, he kind of said, because he was interrupted. Okay, is this a free for all? Let's go. The moderator was like, no, it's not a free for all. So what was your favorite line of the night? What was where do you think the point was scored? If you I'm watching a debate because I'm a commentator on debates. So if you go to my Facebook page, you can see one after another what happened. Ooh, Mike said this. Ooh, John said this. So it is. But what do you think? I mean, did anybody but me notice that? Mike and Perry were ganging up on John? Did anybody but me kind of wonder if they weren't going to make an alliance there? Mark says that they were arguing a lot. They were. He voted for Perry by absentee ballot. Okay, because you don't trust the mail. All right. Yeah, the mail's really stinky lately. We sent out our call to convention last week, and there are people calling me today saying they haven't got it yet. So my husband got his yesterday, and I haven't got mine yet. So, okay, interesting. So give it a day or two. We're going to have our county convention on the 13th at Hidden Springs Church on Lanson Road, just south of Allen Road. So anyway, we're going to be there, and you'll get more notifications there. So as far as the call in, if you want to talk about the debate, I thought that James kept an amazing cool considering he was I kept saying things like, ooh, Mike answered that question good, and then slapped James. Then Perry talked that, Perry said so, then he slapped James. So poor John was getting smacked on both sides. Rob says he liked Mike's answers about what do you do first day. Agreed. It is like he wrote that question. He had that one down pat. And I thought that Mike did a really good job of answering the questions that the audience were coming in. I mean, he had answers to that too, so I appreciated that. I thought Perry, I like the way Perry is focused on the budget because I don't think that most voters understand what happens. Like I've said this before, Rick Snyder, when he was governor, he came into a mess, and most people do not realize how bad of a problem he came into. Governor Granholm had robbed funds that were fully supported and fully funded, and robbed it and put it in the general fund. So here comes Snyder, and he's got a budget full of holes. And that's why you remember we had big cuts for like 2 years or a year until he could backfill those holes. And then things grew. And after that, I mean, by the time he left, we had a huge rainy day fund. Everything was doing right. Everything was going right. We had, people, that's not the sexy answer, right? The budget's never the sexy answer. It never is. But it is, without that, really, that's an integral part of the being a governor, is really having a good budget. Because I know that, like I said, Granholm, she robbed every fund, like the things were paid up, like the Michigan Public School Retirement System. That was supposed to be funded, right? Let's rob that big time and put it in general fund so she can give tax credits to movies being made here. It's just, I could go on for that. I won't, but I will tell you that. I loved Perry's focus on the budget. He's really zoomed in on that. I think if I were to offer my concern, or not even a concern, but I would offer him, if he were to say to me, Deb, what do I need to focus on? What do I need to change? I'd say, talk about something other than the budget. What else is there? So it basically, we got I think I was joking saying he's got a one-trick pony. It's a good pony. It's a good trick pony, but it's still one. I think he needs to expand on what he would do. I think that, let's see, Perry did remarkably well, but he's still voting for Mike. Yeah, Livingston County seems to kind of be leaning toward Mike, and coincidentally, it's Mike that's been out here, so I kind of think they go together. I'll just wait for Tyler. What are you doing?
Touch pads.
All right, that's it. I'm having a mouse by next month. All right, Mike and Perry were gaining up on John because John got Trump's endorsement. No, I think you're at least partially right. I gotta believe that's part of it. So regardless who wins the primary, I will vote Republican. Amen to that. That's what we need to do. But yeah, I thought the second day John was much more poised. I don't think he was expecting the tag team on it. So, but yeah, it's. I mean, I liked Mike's answers. I think I'd like to see less fire up and out of all of them, and more focus on, okay, what are you going to do? Like, Perry, talk about something other than the budget. Mike, talk about something other than John. You have great answers. I want to hear what you have to say. When you did talk about his day one, he blew everybody away. To me, that was the best line of the night, right? So I'd like to see more of that. So, and, John spent so much time defending himself, he really didn't get anything out there either. So, all right, that's just my 2 cents. Anybody have anything else on their mind as it pertains to that? If they do, let me know. We had a great picnic over at the 7th District Sunday, and it was wonderful. Jim Jordan was there, and I'd never really heard him speak. Very amazing, very, very just amazing and inspiring. Doug Lloyd came out, and if you go out to our Facebook, you'll see either on mine or on the party Facebook, we did a little video. He cracks me up every time. And I won't spoil it. Just go watch it. It's pretty funny. He caught me off guard a couple of times. So, but he did a great job. I always love seeing him here. Mike Cox stopped by. Chairman Runstead came by. Senator Runstead. Who else was there? We had some out-of-town chairs. We had Vance Patrick was there, which was nice to see him. I always get a kick out of him. And Jessica Toth was there from the 12th Congressional District. She's another one I really enjoy getting to know, and I enjoyed sitting with her and talking to her for a while. Of course, Norm and Mary Schinkel were there, and everybody loves them from Ingham County. So it was great to see and I know there were other chairs there too, and I'm sorry I don't remember. I'm drawing blanks now too, but it was terrific seeing everybody. So, but it was a great food and great speeches, and Tom Barrett of course was there, and it was he gave some real inspiring stuff. So I got to get Tom on the podcast. He has just been running like crazy, and I'm hello, we need you here. So I'm falling apart here, and excuse me while I pin that back up. It drives me crazy flapping on my neck while I'm trying to talk. Better. Okay, so what about you guys? What's going on in your neck of the woods? Matthew, are you still watching Stafford? What's going on with you? You got a great endorsement. What are you doing with your time over there, Matthew Stafford? You can call if you want. If it's easier to call than it is to type. Let's see. What other ones? Roman. Yes, I'm trying, Karen. He's just that, Tuesdays are hard for him because he's always in. But I could Zoom him in. I'm always afraid because the first time, my very first remote was Tom, and we didn't know what the heck we were doing, and we had malfunctions and everything else, and I often wonder if he's not coming back because he doesn't want to go through that again. I did tell his crew, we know what we're doing now. We've done it now. We're practiced. So, So what, Perry could earn my vote if he chooses Mike as his lieutenant governor. You know, interesting, Rob, that's very interesting because I have heard it both ways. I think that, you know, because to me, if either way, I guess, I mean, Mike has the insight on, if I had to choose, I could live with it. If Perry wanted to run and Mike was his lieutenant, I'd be all for it. If I were to choose, I would go the other way around, only because Perry doesn't have Lansing experience, and I know that, you know, if you think about what Trump did in his first few years, he went wrong with some of those picks and things like that, as some of the people working for him. It's, you know, having the experience within the legislature, you understand there's no learning curve for Mike, right? There's a big learning curve for Perry, even though he's got some, you know, Taylor, he's got some strong, he's got some like very experienced people in the Maddox behind him and others. So, you know, Tom Leonard certainly knows his way around. Eric Nesbitt certainly knows his way around. So, you know, that's terrific and that's good. But I mean, if it were those two, I would like to see Mike just simply because he has his, but hey, I could go either way. If they could agree on it, I think if they would agree on it, game over, guys. If they could agree on a partnership, I think game over. That would be it. It would be over. Everybody would go. Everybody do it. Hello, Curtis Clark. Where have you been? You haven't lectured me on township stuff in months. I thought you were mad at me. So anyway, Matthew, are you still here? Do you want to talk about your campaign at all? So let's see. I've been working on a fundraiser for Doug Lloyd here in Livingston County. It's a big one. I'm waiting for that to kind of fall into place. Looking for somebody to host a good fundraiser for Anthony Ferlini out here. So I got some ideas on who might want to do that. But if anybody thinks, hey, Livingston County, I can do this one. Also, I encourage any other counties that are watching. You know, put together a fundraiser for these guys. They need it. We do. I mean, no matter what you do, we cannot have the Washtenaw County Attorney General as our state Attorney General. That would make Nessel look like Trump. And I certainly don't want Gilchrist as our Secretary of State. So that would be awful. So the only way to prevent that is to really get working. So stop complaining and start campaigning. So who do you have that, you know, school board is what you have left. You got so many days now to sign back up. So anything more? Anybody got anything to say? Curtis, do you have anything to say before we sign off? We sort of covered everything before you said hello. What else is going on here? We're busy, but it's like stuff, you know, just stuff like events. You know, if only I had a little device that told me what's coming, right? So, Food Truck Friday. Okay, I knew there was something. This Friday, from noon to 9 o'clock, in Pinckney at the park there, the big park in downtown Pinckney, they have Food Truck Friday, and vendors. I mean, they have obviously food trucks, but there's also lots of other vendors. I have a bunny seasoning vendor that I do there, so. Those of you who have not done the bunny seasoning, this is something. So anybody out there that they wait for me to come back to these places, then they rush up and buy more. So I have one, and then we have the Republican Party there. And the Republican Party signs up new people or gives out, you know, information or takes emails to get them newsletters, things like that. So we are always looking for Livingston County Republicans to kind of come down anytime is convenient for you between 12 and 9. If you could hang out for a couple hours, just greet people, say hi to people. You know, make sure the water bowl for the dogs that walk by are filled, and make sure, you know, if you see a puppy, give them a treat. So, anyway, that's what we're looking. Curtis says he has lots of great educational material on Facebook. Please explore. Okay, and Curtis, I did send you a message. You told me that you wanted to be on the podcast and talk about your township deal. I know you wrote a book. I see you peddling that thing shamelessly all over Facebook. So I've offered to have you on here. You can tell everybody about it. All right, here we go. Jake Curry, delegate to county if the ballot says pick no more than 9 to vote for, but only 3 are running, and I register as a write-in, write myself in, will you become one? If you register, yes. You have to register. If you're going to be a write-in, you have to get on the Secretary of State. You have to get on the clerk, and you have to file that you're going to do that. Yep. And as long as, yes. So the short answer to that is yes, but make sure you register. That's a good question, Jake. Do it like right away. Run. Go there tomorrow. No excuses. You have to do that if you want to do it. And we do not have. We are not. I don't think we have. I don't know if we have any competitive precinct delegate races. I think we've got pretty much what we need. So we're not screaming that we need more, and we're not screaming that it's going to be a big fight. So I think we got everything we need. Now the good thing is that the state convention that's coming up. We had an endorsement convention. That's where all of the hoopla went to. This is just basically voting to make it right. Now, let me just say that there is a rule that says somebody wants to challenge who was endorsed. So right now we have Anthony Ferlini, who was endorsed by the delegates as Secretary of State candidate, and we had Doug Lloyd, who was endorsed by the candidates in the state to be the Attorney General. All right. Can they be challenged at this thing? Yes. Yes, they can. But in order to win, you have to take 2/3. So I think they got 50-some. Anthony won in a 3-way race with 55% or something, unheard of in a first round. One round, it was done. That's never done. And Doug Lloyd took 60-some%. So it's going to be really hard. But at the same time, we have new delegates that are all these people that are going to be voted in August. They're going to be elected. They're not going to be the same people necessarily that endorse them. And so, if you're thinking, you don't need to go because it's already been decided, no, you need to go. Okay, this one's going to be at Soaring. It's going to be at Mount Pleasant, Soaring, the casino up there. So, I would recommend that you get once you get elected, you get a room up there and, lock into a room because it's a long way to drive. I used to go there. My son went to Central and going up there all the time. That's a long drive. So, all right. So Food Truck Friday this Friday. And then we have another one, I think, third Friday in August. But from noon to 9, if you can come to that, chair at LivingstonRepublicans.com. Let me know. Next week, I'm working on the 7 o'clock. But I also have Andy Anusis at the 8 o'clock slot. He is our Wayne State Board of Governors candidate. So the week after that, I'm tightening it up, but I think I'm going to have both judges on that night. So that's going to be a good night too. So that'd be the 28th. I'll have the 44th judicial, the 2 conservative candidates, Christopher Candela and Christina Like. They will be here. At least they've been invited. Christina has okayed it. I have to get with Christopher and get him to commit to it, but I'm sure he will. What else is going on? That's what I have.
I got a question.
What?
Got a question from Mark.
Oh, okay. That's a good question if we pay. I don't know. I haven't heard. I'm going to say probably because they've charged everybody for everything up there. So I'm going to. I'd save your pennies. Curtis tagged me in a post. Okay, I'll look at it when I'm done. All right. Anybody else got anything they want to chat about? Call me. Or type it in there. If not, I'm gonna let Tyler go to bed. He's over there. He's like fat thumbing everything over there. So I'm gonna give him a break. So and by next week I'll have my mouse back. My mouse ran away. We have searched everywhere. I've torn my car apart. I've torn everything apart. My mouse has run away. I cannot find the little mouse. So he's doing the little pad and he doesn't like it. So. All right, I think we're done. So thanks for showing up. Next week is going to be a good one. I'm working on the 7 o'clock slot. I got some got some thoughts, but I have to wait for some confirmations. And then 8 o'clock is Andy Anusis, and I don't know if everybody remembers him. I'm old, so I've been here a while, and he's 100 years ago. He was a chair here, and he was a chair here for a while. So he's got he's been here for a while, and he's conservative, and so we'll talk to him about his plans for Wayne State. So, all right, everybody, good night, and we will see you. We'll see you next week.